Okay. So in the previous session, we have completed this template configuration, and as part of that, we have discussed about the different types of template. So we understood how to configure the contract template, how to configure the sourcing template, and even we have discussed about the SLP template as well. And we have seen that how actually we have to build up the template in Ariba. That's something we have discussed in the previous session. Now today we have to start the new topic, that is the approval workflow configuration. Even we have discussed about the approval workflow configuration during this template configuration, and that is applicable for Ariba Upstream. So whenever we have to configure the approval workflow in Ariba Upstream, so we have to config with the help of the approval task, right? So in that cases, we have to create the approval task, and inside the approval task, whatever the approval workflow that's something required, we can actually config in Ariba Upstream. But when you come to the Ariba downstream, so like in Ariba downstream, we are not having the template concept. So in Ariba downstream, we do have the different options to configure the approval workflow. That's something we are going to discuss in detail level. So usually while working in the implementation project or even sometimes in support project as well, customer they may ask you to config some kind of approval workflow. So if you see, I just given some examples here, and in these cases, in this example, I have included all the different approval workflow. That is basic level, conditional approval, or even it is included the object specific approval workflow as well. So let's try to understand the scenario first, and then we will see in the system how actually we have to design the approval workflow. So if you see in these cases at level one customer, they are expecting that approval should determine the supervisor of the PR creator. So in this case, this comes as part of the basic level of the approval workflow. So in these cases, customer requirement is that once when the PR will be created, so the users who has created the purchase equation, it should go to the manager of the PR creator. So in these cases, they are expecting at the level one. Okay. Then when you come to this label 2, so label 2 requirement is that approval should go to the purchasing agent. So purchasing agent is not the user ID, purchasing agent is a role. Okay. And if you talk from the Ariba point of view, you can say this is a group. Group means role itself. So in these cases, customer requirement is that this workflow should go to the purchasing agent. And even if you see in the Ariba downstream, so we are not having any provision to create the manual purchase order. So whenever the purchase order will be created, it will be create automatically. So that is the reason customer they would like to involve the purchasing agent as well, so that at least purchasing agent will come to know about the PR, and accordingly they will prepare themselves. Okay. So that is the reason they are expecting that to include the purchasing agent team as part of this label 2 approval. Okay. Then next we do have this label 3, and in label 3 customer they have given some conditional scenario, and in these cases they are expecting that this approval should go to the purchasing manager if PR total value is in between 10,000 to 50,000. Okay. So in this case as well, they would like to include the purchasing manager. Purchasing manager is again, this is the role. And in these cases, if the PR total value is in between 10,000 to 50,000, then only the purchasing manager will come in the picture. Okay. Parallelly, if you see, they have given the other requirement, that is, if PR created with non-catalog items, then determine the catalog manager or catalog approvers as an approval workflow. So like in while creating the PR, we do have the provision we can create the PR manually. Manually means with the reference of the catalog item, or we can create without a catalog item itself. So in some cases, if business user they are creating the purchase equations with non-catalog item, so in that cases, customer they are expecting to include this catalog approver or catalog manager in the approval workflow, so that they can have some tracking on this PR, how many PR is getting created with non-catalog item. And if that is a kind of frequent purchases, so that they can plan to convert non-catalog item into the catalog item. So for that reason, customer requirement is to include the catalog approver or catalog manager as an approval here. Okay. Then apart from that, the next condition is that if PR requester is not the creator and requisition is not imported from ERP, then add the requester as an approver. So even if you see this happens in many cases, like let's say for example, myself and Surendra, we both are working in the same organization, and let's say we are very close to each other, and let's say Surendra is responsible to purchase some IT equipment product. I'm responsible to purchase some manufacturing related product. Now let's assume that I require some kind of IT equipment, but I'm not authorized to initiate the purchases. So in that cases, I do have the one options. I can create the purchase equations on behalf of the Surendra. So how basically I can do that? So I will create the PR, and while creating the PR in the in the requester field, I will select the Surendra ID. That means I'm creating PR on behalf of him. Now in these cases, if you see, so I have created the purchase equation, but I'm not communicated to the Surendra. But on behalf of him, the purchase equation is being created, and even he will come to know in the last of the moment, like let's say in on month end when the purchase register will be prepared. Then he will come to know like okay, some requisitions has been created on behalf of me. So that is a kind of problem. So in that cases, what customer they are expecting, why not? We can include the requester as an approver. So if the PR creator and requester both are different, then in that cases, requester should be the part of the approval workflow, right? And not only this, even the another condition is that the PR is not imported from SAP ERP. So in these cases, we do have some integrated or integration related conditions. So in these cases, if PR is not imported from SAP ERP, then only the system should determine the requester as an approval here. Okay. Then we do have one more requirement here, that is a system should determine the approver based on the specific values. So sometimes in some certain cases, customer they may ask you to determine the approver based on the specific object. And the object could be the any parameter, for example, based on the cost center. So customer requirement is to determine the approver based on the cost center, based on the commodity code, based on the some amount, specific amount, right? Based on the company code, based on the plant. So in some certain cases, customer they may ask you to determine the approver based on the specific values. So in these cases, for example, you can see customer they have given some scenario based on the region and company code. So for example, if PR is having the region USA, then in these cases the approval should go to the user one. If PR is having the company code 1001, then approval should go to the different user. So like that in the real time, you may see the different kind of requirement, and customer they may ask you to configure this requirement in the approval workflow. So in next we are going to see in the system how basically we have to configure this approval workflow. But before proceeding this, is there any scenario which you would like to add in these cases here from anyone?
Rohit, we can also consider the parallel approvers, such type of process also, no? Like any of these should approve, and the other case can be everyone should approve, something like that.
No, parallel means it's not like any of them has to approve. Parallel means both has to approve.
Yes.
Only differences is that in case of the parallel, system will send the communication parallelly. Let's say myself and you are parallel approver. So when a document will be created, we both will receive the communication, and we both can approve parallelly. Either you can approve first, I can approve later, or I can approve first, you can approve later, but both has to approve.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so whenever you have to design this approval workflow, so you have to log it in the Ariba system. And like whenever we are initiating the purchasing document, so purchasing documents we are initiating in the child realm, not in the parent realm. So if you come to here in the manage options, in the manage, we can see we do have the options of this approval processes here. Okay. So we are in the parent realm, so we don't have to configure this approval workflow in the parent realm. So it's better you have to make sure like you have to switch from parent to the child realm, because in the child realm only we are doing all these procurement activity. So we have to come in the child realm. And once you come in the child realm, then after that you can go to this manage options here and then click on this approval processes. So once you click on these approval processes here, so with the help of these approval processes, we can actually design the approval workflow in the Ariba downstream. So when you click on this approval processes, you will get this kind of screen here. And even as part of the best practice, you see Ariba will also deliver you some best practice approval workflow for particular documents. So in that cases, once you come here and if you want to see the approval workflow for any specific document, so we have to select the required approval type. Approval type means you can say the document type or you can say transaction type. So what for whatever the document type you're looking for approval workflow, you can select a document type here. For example, we can see we do have the different document type here. Like we can see contract request, we do have the invoice reconciliation, receipt, we do have the requisition, service sheet. So different object we can see here. So for whatever the object you would like to see the existing approval workflow, we can just select this object here or document type, and then we have to click on the search. So once you click on the search, so right now in this site we can see that we do have the 616 items. So from configuration point of view, there is no such kind of restrictions. You cannot create the approval workflow. If you want to create the multiple approval workflow, for example, we can say in this system for requisition itself, we do have the 616 entries. But it's not like that all the approval workflow will be activated at the same time. So from activation point of view, we can activate a single approval workflow per document. So here, if you see that, so for all this approval workflow, we can see the status. It is showing as a check-in or draft, check-in or draft. So draft means still the configuration is going on. Check-in in the sense we can say that configuration is completed but not yet activated. That means that is the you can say check-in there. So when you are going to search the same thing in the real-time system, so in the real-time system, so you will have only one or two approval workflow. Then if you would like to configure the new approval workflow, so in that cases, so we do have the two provision, two option. One option is that you can make a copy of the existing approval workflow. So whatever the standard approval workflow will be there in the customer system, you can simply select that particular approval workflow here. And then after that, if you're okay with this, we can click on the copy. And once you click on this copy, then system will create the this existing approval workflow. System will make a copy of this existing approval workflow. And then after that, we can just click on this approval workflow name and whatever the adjustment you want to do, you can do the adjustment there. So this is the one way to create this new approval workflow by copying the existing one. Otherwise, in some cases, you want to create this approval workflow from the scratch. That means completely new. So that's something also we can do that. And in that cases, we have to come here and click on this create new option. So once you click on this create new options here, then after that, like a system will give you this kind of form. And here we have to just maintain the approval workflow title. So whatever title that you want to give, you can give any title here. Let's say I'm just going to give some different title. So like that, we can just, okay. So whatever the nomenclature, that's something you want to just give here. You can just give the title of the approval workflow. And then we have to choose the approval type. Approval type means document type. So for which documents you are going to create this approval workflow, you can choose any particular document. So based on the need, whatever this like document is applicable, we can select any particular documents here. Let's say we have to create for the requisition, so we can select this approval type as requisition. Then after that, if you're okay with this, we have to simply click on this next options here. And once you click on this next option, then system will create one approval node. So here we can see now this approval node has been created here. Just only for your understanding purpose, if you can recall our template configuration session, so that time when we have to configure the approval workflow. So in the first step, we have to create the approval task, and after that, inside the approval task, we do have the options to add the initial rule. And whatever the workflow type that you would like to choose, like serial, parallel, custom, you can choose. It always comes as custom. So we can select that options and then click on the add initial rule. After that, system was adding this kind of approval node here, right? So here also we can see this approval node has been created, and also since this time we are configuring the approval workflow in the Ariba downstream, so that the region we can see we do have different tab, which we will discuss in the coming session. Okay. So from here we have to now start configuring this approval workflow. So in this cases we have to give all the different kind of informations here. So we have to basically enter this, like rule title. So whatever the rule title, that's something you want to give. You can give the rule title. It's up to your choice. So let's say, for example, in this cases, I'm just going to give the rule title that is supervisor label. So we can just maintain this some kind of text here, supervisor label. And then after that, we have to just some maintain this description. So whatever description that we have discussed earlier, you can maintain these descriptions here. Even if you want to make these descriptions more elaborative, you can just maintain the detailed informations here. That's something also we can do. Then after that, if you come down the side, so down the side, we do have the options that is the approvers can opt for rule specific escalation period. So this is applicable for the escalation part in, let's say, for example, you are the approver. And in that cases, we have given the 2 days of the time period to approve this. And if you're not going to come, you're not going to approve the documents within 2 days, then from the next day, system is going to escalate this one and it will send the escalation email to your supervisor, that means to your manager. So if you require to have this escalation period, then in that cases, we can select this and then we can see we do have the options. We can define the escalation warning period. So warning period means it will send you the reminder email. And then we do have the escalation period. That means system is going to escalate to your manager. So whatever the number of days that you want to choose, we can choose. It's up to your choice. Then down the side, if you see as part, we do have the condition section here. But in this cases, if you see, we are not having any conditional based scenario. This is the straightforward scenario. So in this cases, condition will not be applicable. So condition we have to skip this time. Then in the actions, we do have the options that is add approvers and group and use approver lookup table. So lookup table we will discuss in coming session. So now we have to just select this add approvers and group. And as part of this, in the actions, we have to select the options of this add supervisor. That means we are just giving the instructions to the to system that system has to determine the supervisor of the PR creator. And then down the side in the parameters, we do have the options that is the approval required. And here you can see we do have the question mark. That means system is asking approval is required. So based on the need, you can say yes or no. So if you are going to select this checkbox, then system will understand like yes. And if you are going to uncheck this checkbox, then system will understand like no, approval is not applicable in these cases. So in which cases we have to select this checkbox. So in some certain cases, if customer they have requested to add the approvers. So if customer they have requested to add the approvers in the approval workflow, but they are not expecting to have the approver from the approver. So for example, let's say in some cases, even I do also have a similar kind of experience. So sometimes it happens, some company they do have the policy, they are not going to give the approval authorizations to any contractor employee. So even though the contractor employee they are working as part of the manager level, they are the HOD, but as per the company policy, they should not have the approval workflow. And even in that cases, they can't escape the HOD or manager from the approval chain as well, because if they're not going to add the approval, I mean they're not going to add HOD or manager in the approval chain, then how they will come to know like what documents is being created, how many documents is created. So that is the reason in that cases customer they may ask you like, hey, can you please add this manager or HOD in approval chain, but please make sure to not to give the approval authorization, because as per our company policy we cannot give the approval authorizations to any managers or any supervisor if they are part of the contractor employee. So even same thing happened with me as well in past. So I was supporting to one of the client, and like so the from client side there was one IT person, but that IT person left the organization, and I was the only who was taking care of all these things. So they have decided to give me the approval authorization so that whenever any approval, any changes required for approval, so I supposed to approve. But when they have proposed this one, then as per company policy, they do have the restrictions. They cannot give the approval authorization to the contractor employee. So in that cases, they have not like given the approval authorizations to me because I was a part of third company, right? So in such kind of scenario, we have to make approvers as observer. So when you are going to uncheck this checkbox, then the approval will act as observer, or we can say watcher. So they will receive the communication, but they don't have to take any actions because they are just acting as a watcher. So based on the need, whatever the appropriate action you want to take, you can take here. And then in the region field, we have to maintain some kind of text here. So whatever the text, that's something you would like to maintain, you can just maintain this text. So what is the functionality of this text? That's something we will see in coming session. But like this, we can maintain the text here. So like this, we have to actually configure this approval workflow. So we can see now we have created the first level of the approval workflow here. Then similarly, if you would like to configure the next level of the approval workflow, so to add this next level of the approval node, we can add as part of the serial or parallel. It's up to your customer requirement. So if you want to add any kind of serial approval, serial means we can say sequential. So if you see after this approval node, we do have a kind of action menu. Even before this approval node, we do have the action menu. So we have to just click on this actions menu here and then click on this add serial rule. Or even if you want to add this any serial or parallel node before this approval node, we can click on this. And here also we can add the serial or parallel rule. So let's say we would like to add this next serial approval node. So we can come to this actions after actions menu and click on this add serial rule. And once you click on this add serial rule, now you can see we have added the serial approval workflow here. Then same way as per the requirement, we can just maintain this text here. So whatever the text that's something you want to maintain, we can maintain this rule title. We can enter these descriptions as well. That's something we can maintain. And in this case, the requirement is that approval should go to the purchasing agent. So purchasing agent is a role. Okay. And even in this case as well, if you see, so in this case also, we are not having any conditional scenario. So this time conditions we have to ignore. And the same way we have to be on this add approvers and group. And here in the actions, we have to select this add group. Add group means add role. Then if you come down the side, so here in the group, we have to select the role. So whatever the role that you want to choose, I just selected the purchasing agent. So like this, we can just select this role here and then we can just maintain the text, whatever the text that's something applicable. So I'm just maintaining purchasing agent has to approve, like that we can maintain the text here. Okay. So now overall, if you see that, so we have created this two approval node. Now same way, if you talk about the next requirement, so as we discussed earlier, the next requirement is that approval should go to the purchasing manager. And in these cases, if you see, so in these cases, customer, they have given some scenario, some conditions. And the conditions is that if PR amount is between 10,000 to 50,000, then only this approval should determine as part of the purchasing manager here. So then in that cases, we have to basically apply the conditions. So similarly, we can add the next serial approval node. And whatever this title and descriptions you want to give, you can give. And then this time we have to basically work with the condition. Now, if you see one thing here, so the requirement is that the purchasing manager should come in the picture if PR total value is in between 10,000 to 50,000. So can anyone try to make some guess? Either this is the or conditions or and conditions.
And
Okay. Any further guess from anyone? What do you think? This is the or conditions or and condition.
because along with the other parameters, this parameter also it should satisfy, like that PR value in between this range. So I'm expecting this will be an end condition.
Okay. Any further guess from anyone? Okay. So this will come as part of the or condition, not the and condition. And why it comes as part of the or condition? Because in these cases, the scenario is that if PR total value is between 10,000 to 50,000. So you will have a single value. Either it could be like 10,000, it could be 20,000, it could be 40,000, it could be the 50,000. You can't say you will have the PI total amount 10,000 and 50,000 both. That something is not possible. We can have the single value. So that means this will come as part of the OR condition. So let's try to understand how actually we have to configure this conditional scenario and how to configure the OR conditional scenario. So in these cases, we have to come to this condition sections here, and in the condition section, so we can see we do have the symbol all are true. That is the symbol of the condition. So we have to come to these condition sections and then go to this drop down. And here we have to click on this field match. So why actually we have to include the field match? Because we are talking about the PR total value. So how system will validate like what is the amount of the PR, what is the total value of the PR. So definitely in that case, we have to give the value of this, PR total value field. And for that, we have to just click on this field match. And once you click on the field match, we can see now one box has been added to select the field. Okay. So now in these cases, we can just click on this select drop down and then click on this select field. So once you click on this select field here, so as you know, in SAP Ariba, we are not having any such kind of provision to find the database level informations. That means you can't find out the technical informations like how we can see in the SAP ERP. But in some exceptional cases, SAP has given these options where you can find out the informations about the internal field, and this is a part of the one exceptions here. So here we can see we do have this internal field name, that means technical name, and we do have the field label, that means front in name, what we can see in the screen itself. Okay. So in this cases, so whatever the list of field that is there in the purchase equations, you will be able to see here, and even that will include the standard field and custom field. But the thing is that in these cases, we are not having any such kind of quick search options, like you can put the control F and find the field. That is a little bit lengthy. So in these cases, we have to manually navigate to each and every pages, and we can see we do have a list of the pages here. We have to go through all these pages to find out the appropriate field, whatever field that's something you require to include in the condition. Okay. So though we do not have any quick search options here, but we do have one options. So we can sort this list of the field in the alphabetical manner. And based on that, we can find out the, like we can search this field easily. So if you want to sort it, you have to just simply click on this internal field name. And once you click on this internal field name, then after that system will show you list of the field here. Like that we can see list of the field. Then whatever the field that's something you would like to include as part of the, like a condition, you can include the list of the field. So we can see we do have different field like amendment breach, amount billed, amount rejected. We do have the change by company code. Even if you are going to switch from the different pages, you will have the other field. Like we can see, we do have some custom field. So wherever you can see the field name is starting with the CUS underscore, that means these are the custom field. So like that, we do have this list of the fields here, and whatever field that's something applicable in your cases. Even we can see we do have document date, ERP requisitions ID, we do have something whole till date. Similarly, if you come to the other pages here, we can see we do have something procurement unit, we do have the requester, SAP plant. So overall, different kind of field we can see here. Now, based on the need, even we can see we do have the submitted by suppliers, tax amount, and we do have this total cost field as. So same thing, we are also expecting that, like here to include that is the total cost. So we do have the total cost field. And not only this total cost field, even if you see here, so in these cases, we can see in this field, we do have a kind of arrow. That means inside this total cost field, we do have some other sub field as well. So if you want to, like expand this, you want to see some other field, we can just expand this, and then you can see we do have the different field here. So whatever field that's something applicable in your cases, we can just choose any of the particular field. So let's say you want to include this total cost amount because we can see this field name is amount here. So in that cases, we can just simply click on this select, and once you click on this select, now we can see the field has been selected. That is equation dot total cost dot amount. Then based on the need, in the next we have to choose the conditional operator, and here we can see we do have the list of the options, that is equal to, is greater than, less than, not equal to. So whatever the option that's something you want to choose, we can choose. So in these cases, if you want to choose any particular options, we can choose. But generally what we have to do, we have to break these conditions into pieces here. Even though customer they are saying the value should be in between, but we have to include the equal to as well, right? So what we can do for that, in that cases, we have to select the options, that is greater than or equal to. And then here we have to give the value, and in these cases, we can just give the value like 10,000. So in one part, if you see, it is saying that if purchase requisition total value is between 10,000 to 50,000, that means in other way you can say that is equal to or greater than 10,000, or is equal to or less than the 50,000, then purchasing manager should come in the approval. So same thing we have added here as well. So we have added the condition if requisition dot total cost amount is greater than or equal to 10,000, and then we have to include one more or conditions here. And to include the OR conditions, we have to come to this all or true drop down here. And then we have to insert the sub conditions. So whatever the sub condition, that's something applicable in your cases. So we can use, you can include any kind of sub condition like before or after. So whatever the options that you want to choose as per your need, you can choose any options here. Let's say I'm just going to include the before. And even if you want to choose after, you can choose after as well. You will not be able to identify either you added before or after. But like this, we can add the, like sub conditions here. And then we have to follow same process. Come to this first all are true. Then same way, click on the field match. And the same way, we can select the particular field, whatever field that's something applicable in your cases. So we can choose the field. And I think we have to include this total cost amount field. We can just include this. And then here in the conditional operator, we can give something is less than or equal to. And then whatever the value you want to put, we can put the values here. So now overall, if you see in these cases, we have configured the conditions if requisition the total cost amount is greater than or equal to 10,000, or it is not saying and, it is saying or requisition the total cost amount is less than or equal to 50,000, then all are true. Then this condition will be applicable. And then same way you can come to this actions menu, and here we have to keep this add group. And in this group, we have to select the purchasing manager. And the same way, you can just maintain some kind of text here, whatever you want to maintain. So we can just maintain this text like this, we can do. So this is something, like we can basically add this conditional scenario. So we can just include the or conditions here. Okay. Now,
Rohit, sorry, one question.
mhm,
Where are we given? Where we are giving here whether it is or end condition?
it is or, because if you see, we added the two conditions here. I mean, 2% of the condition. So this one is separate one. You can see all are true, this one. Then all are true, this one. So this you will understand. Give me some time. I'll explain
Okay.
one more scenario, then you will understand. Okay, any further questions at this moment?
No, Rohit.
Rohit, one more question. Are we have do we have the option of adding substitute? For example, that particular user is not there. It should die.
That is
Okay.
okay. So that is the part of the user manager configuration. We'll discuss on this in coming session. Okay, so you can see that like we have configured this one approval node based on the conditional scenario. Similarly, if you see that we do have the next requirement, that is if PR created with non-catalog item, and then a system should determine the approver as catalog approvers, or we can say catalog manager. And in these cases, if you see, so this requirement is part of the label 3 itself, and customer they are expecting to include the parallel approver node. So how basically we can include this parallel approver node? So in that cases, so as we discussed earlier, if you want to add any parallel approver node, we can just come to this before actions menu and click on this add parallel rule. And once you click on this add parallel rules, now we can see now system has added one parallel approver node. Then same way, whatever this like title and description you want to give, you can just give the title. So I'm just going to give the title like catalog manager approval, like that we can give, and then we have to add this rule description. And in these cases, the condition is that if PR is created with the non-catalog item. So non-catalog item is also called as ad hoc line item or ad hoc item. So whenever we are going to config any condition, so even SAP has also given some list of the predefined conditions as well. And if you would like to refer the predefined conditions, so what you can do, you can just come to these conditions here, then go to this all are true. And we can see we do have this predefined conditions option. So we can click on this predefined conditions. And then if you click on this drop down, you will be able to see list of the different conditions. Like we can see, we do have the list of the conditions, something requisition has supplier, and you can see something requester in group. Then requisition has items without a supplier. So this kind of requirement we had earlier. So like in our previous implementation, customer they have the scenario like if PR while creating the PR, if the user they have included the supplier, then it should go to the different person. And if the supplier field is empty, then it should go to the different team because they are responsible to do the sourcing activity and then choose the supplier. So if you want to apply such kind of conditions, we can see SAP has given this kind of conditions as per the standard. Even we can see we do have the other options like requester has supervisor, budget check has failed, and we can see one condition that is approvable has ad hoc line item. That means approvable has the non-catalog item. So this kind of conditions SAP has given as part of the standard. We can just refer the predefined conditions and then we can select this. And since this is the standard condition, so we don't have to do anything after this. So we have to just select this. And then same way you can navigate, you can come to the actions here and we have to keep these options add group. And then from the group, you can choose the catalog manager, catalog approver. You can select the options and then whatever the text you want to maintain, you can just maintain this text here. So I'm just maintaining this text like this. Okay. So now in this cases, if you see, we have added the parallel approver node. So similarly, based on the requirement, whatever this next approver node you want to add, and now you can see the next requirement is that is the serial because it's talking about label 4. And in this cases, the requirement is that if PR requester is not the creator and requisition is not imported from ERP, then system has to add the requester as an approval. So how actually we can configure this? And since this is the part of the serial approver node, you can just come to any of the approver node here, and we can simply add the serial rule. So now we can see when we selected the add serial rule, system has added after this a project manager label. So it's not like that. Please don't think like this approver node will only be applicable when we will have the PM level approval, not on this catalog manager. It's not like that. So generally how the workflow works, so when you are going to create the document, then in the runtime, system will check all the approver node, like it will come to supervisor label, then label to PM label, catalog manager, then this one. And it will check that like which approval node is satisfying the conditions. And accordingly, system will determine the respective approvers there. Okay. So now you can see we have added this approver node here and then same way, whatever these descriptions or title you want to give, we can give. So like here, I'm just maintaining this requester level approval. We can just add. Now in this cases, if you see that, so in this cases, it is saying that if PR requester is not the creator and requisition is not imported from ERP. So this will come as part of the and conditional scenario. And means if both will work, then only this approval node should be applicable. If not, if any of the single conditions is going to satisfy, then system should not determine the requester as an approver. So this kind of scenario will come as part of the and conditional scenario. And then same way, we have to come to these conditions. And since we have to add the add and conditional scenario, so we have to go to this all are true, click on this add sub condition. And the same way, go to this all are true, click on this add sub condition because we do have the two sub conditions here and even both are in and. So that's why we have added and conditions parallelly. In case of the or condition, we have added only one here and the other one was different places. But here we can see both are parallel. That means it will come as part of the AND condition. Okay. Then in this case as well, we do have the two sub conditions. So one sub condition is that if PR requester is not the creator. So in this case also we can apply the same thing. So in this case also we can come to this all are true and then go to the predefined condition. So before creating the conditions, this is the good approach. Like we can refer these predefined conditions, and even if you see, we do have the predefined conditions here. That is, preparer is not requester. So preparer is not requester means the user who created the document is not the requester. Then only this condition will work. And so we find out these standard conditions here. We can select this. Then the second sub condition is that if PR is not imported from ERP. So how system is going to recognize that either this document is created in the Ariba or this document is imported from the backend SAP system? How system is going to recognize that? So system is going to recognize with the help of this, like source system. So in source system, if a system can find out Ariba, that means those are the Ariba generated document. And if we do have different source system, then system will understand like, okay, in this cases, like we do have the this document is not created directly in the Ariba. It is imported from different system. So to fulfill this requirement, we have to add the conditions here, and the same way we have to follow the field match. So we can go to this all are true, then same way click on this field match. Then after that, we have to just select the field and then you can just, like sort this field. And I think in these cases, we have to include the field that is the originating system. So we have to basically include the particular field of the originating system that is the source system, right? So we can just select this particular field here and then you can choose any conditional operator like equal to, not equal to. So whatever the option that's something applicable, we can choose here. So let's say I'm just going to choose not equal to, and here in the value you can maintain the ERP or we can maintain the SAP. So like these options we can maintain here, and then in these actions we have to select the options add requester, and the same way whatever the text that's something you want to maintain here, we can just maintain this text. Okay. So now in these cases, if you see, so in these cases, we do have the AND condition. So how we can say AND condition? Because it is saying that if preparer is not requested and you can see parallelly. So we do have one all are true. That means if this is true and requisition dot originating system is not equal to ERP, then this condition should work. That means we do have these two AND condition. And if only one condition is going to match, in that cases, it will not work. This is a part of the AND condition. And then if you come to this, like earlier one, so that is the part of the OR condition because you can see here we have given all are true. That means this condition, then all are true, this condition. If any of these conditions is going to match, then system will determine the approval workflow here. So this is something about these AND conditions and OR conditions. Now next we do have the last requirement that is object specific approval workflow. So let's talk this thing in tomorrow's session. And tomorrow hopefully we will able to complete this approval workflow configuration. Then after that we will move to next configuration that is the SM administration configuration. Surendra, you got your questions?
Yes, Rohit, I got. Thank
Okay.
you.
Any further questions, Steve?
Rohit, are we going to see about the rejection process also in this?
Rejection
Do,
means?
for example, I'm not, I'm the approver and I don't want to approve that. I want to reject it. it is wrong, the document is wrong, something like that.
That is part of business transaction. Nothing required from designing point of view because when we are going to approve this, so if you see, or you can just create the one document, you will have the options of approve, deny. You can just click on the deny, that is rejection. So nothing to do
Okay.
from designing point of view in that cases.
Okay. If I deny, sometimes I may have two requirements. It can continue, I mean, modifying that particular step or document and then continuing, or going from the first step of the approval process. Do we have that type of scenario?
That scenario we do have. We'll discuss it tomorrow.
Okay.
That is part of design.
Yeah.
All okay. Tomorrow. Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you.